YouTube vinyl community, David Bowie fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about David Bowie's last album, Blackstar. This came out on January 8th, 2016, so I thought it was fitting to have this come out for the review on January 8th, 2021, 5 years exactly since this album came out. This album, for me, is a fascinating document of perception, because when this album came out, it was a Friday, just like what we're experiencing right now. And when it came out, I remember going to Target and I bought the CD and I played it all night and that whole weekend, and I was just loving the storytelling, the imagery, his voice, the musicianship. The whole thing was so different. And I remember going to some stores with a friend of mine, just talking about it. We were talking about the album together and just loving it. And then waking up that Monday morning, on the 10th, and hearing that he died. And it was the strangest thing musically, I think, that I've ever been, that many of us have been a part of. Because instantly, every single song took on a whole different meaning. Every line of every song became, oh, he's singing about himself there. This is about his own life ending. This is about, oh, he's saying goodbye in all of these songs. The album completely transformed itself. It's also fascinating because the previous record, The Next Day, was a really great, I love that album too. And it was great to have Bowie back because he hadn't been around for a while, so he hadn't made a record in quite some time. And, you know, he never toured after 2002 or anything, he never did interviews, none of that stuff. The record came out, he made some videos, that was the promotion. So to have that was enough. To have another album come out was equally as amazing. And this album, even if he was still alive today, I'd still say this album is one of the best things he's ever done. It's dense, it's from another world, it's something that on repeated listens continues to bear new information to keep the listener interested forever, and that may have been his point. It opens with the title track, Blackstar, and this song takes you places. You were instantly transported to this other shaky dimension. This rhythm is eerie. The tension is static. It's slightly maudlin. It's complex. It's just otherworldly. I'm going to use that word a few times, but that is what this music is. And apparently Bowie, right from the get-go, with Tony Visconti as producer, purposely didn't want to make a rock album. He did that with The Next Day. With this one, he wanted to make something completely different, and he did. With some absolutely incredible jazz players on this thing. But this song instantly says Bowie's reinventing himself again, and this time he's reinventing himself and singing about his own passing over the entire album. The imagery on this is incredible. That sax solo that kind of creeps in a couple minutes in sounds like it's looking for some grounding. Bowie's wailing kind of feels like he's letting go. And knowing how sick he was when he made this record is absolutely mind-blowing, how much effort and strength he would delve into this thing, or put into this thing, I should say. I love the transition, how you start off with this eerie landscape, and the video for this is a perfect compliment. It definitely gives off that vibe. But then you get this, like, optimistic. The song shifts about 4 minutes in, where the atmosphere starts to see some light, and there's some gorgeous strings. And these lyrics about something happened on the day he died, his spirit moved a meter and stepped aside. You know, his being, his spirit had been lifted above. And his being, his earthly being, was taken over by the cancer, the Blackstar. And that's how I've always interpreted that. The song grows and it reflects and it continues to breathe in and out. It's got its own life, and it eventually comes full circle back to the original starting place that the song begins with. So it almost feels like you have an entire life. You have a birth, a middle bit, and a death all in one song. Absolutely incredible piece of work. It truly is a fantastic listen. 'Tis a Pity She Was a Whore. I love the drum shuffle on this one. And this is a song we had a couple years earlier for our Record Store Day release. This one and Sue in A Season of Crime. were both released earlier, but these are much different versions, and I think I like these versions better. But that first line, man, she punched me like a dude, that's such a Bowie line. It's such a classic Bowie line. I love that. But his woos in the background and the jazzy, rocking, exciting feeling of this whole track builds and builds and builds nonstop. It's such an ear-catching song. Love it. Love the build-ups. Love the saxophone. Cool track. Then you get Lazarus, which is an absolutely heartbreaking song. It really, really is. And the video is equally sad. And again, when it came out, we didn't think anything of it. And then he died, and they were like, oh, that was about him dying. Okay. Look up here, I'm in heaven. Everybody knows me now. Singing about the bluebirds, which recently Iman just said that in 2019 or 2020, she was on a hike. And I guess the field guide told her that you don't really see bluebirds where they were hiking, and she saw them, and, pretty interesting fact there. It was on his birthday, too. The lyrics on this song are also fascinating because it's almost like letting go of earthly objects. He sings about losing his cell phone, and isn't that just like me? It's like these casual kind of memories. This song for me is about, being free from pain, being free from the earth. The production on this song is insanely tight. It's such a clean production, and until you get to some of those guitar stabs where there's some echo and some reverb on there, that lends itself to such a powerful, moving, rocking your soul kind of feeling. And he did those guitar stabs on his Fender, but it's just a mournful song. I feel like the rhythm is the heartbeat, kind of a stillness, kind of a calm heartbeat, just kind of trying to be comfortable. It's one thing to write about your life. It's one thing to write about what you think your death might be. It's another thing to write about that you are dying and you're making art out of it. As far as I know, no one's ever done that before. Sue, or In a Season of Crime, the intro to this one is reminiscent of Little Wonder from Earthling, which I think is super cool. But I love Bowie's elongated vocal over the super fast-paced rhythm of the music underneath it. And for this song, for me, I've always thought of this song as someone who's going through a sickness and looking for some sort of normalcy as well. So maybe he related to what he wrote in this song, a few years ahead of what actually happened to him. You're being robbed of time. That's what a season of crime feels like to me. When I hear that phrase, I feel like you're being robbed of time. As in, this season will pass, but it's not really yours. Then we jump over to Girl Loves Me. And it's hard to read the back. It's black on black. It looks really cool. Girl Loves Me. This track is absolutely incredible as well because it's all about how time moves so fast. And where did Monday go? You're not going to have another Monday. He died on a Monday. It's absolutely incredible that he said something like that on this record. Possibly a song about Iman just sort of saying, no matter what's happening to me, I've got my girl by my side, and it's going to be all right. She loves me. It's going to be okay. That's, again, how I've interpreted it. This album is completely open to interpretation, so don't take my word as verbatim here. She's there for him when these weekdays aren't, basically. Dollar Days. An acoustic guitar shows up. First one. I think it's the first time on the album. It sounds so unexpected, but for me, this is a song about the places you can visit and the trivial things, just making it through your daily day. The emotion on this one is sweeping and heavy. It's kind of unexpected because the music is a little bit upbeat, but his vocal delivery on this thing is heart-wrenching. The guitars add such an epicness to the finality of it all. And the last track, I can't give everything away. What more can be said? This song kind of grows out of the end of Dollar Days and features a really forlorn harmonica. And harmonicas are usually tied to a sense of home. Kind of an instrument you can pick up when you're a kid and kind of just get the hang of. So for me, hearing the harmonica has always been kind of like a from your past instrument. Bowie sings of knowing that something is wrong. He can't give everything away about his life. He's always been pretty secretive, and especially in the last 15, 20 years of his life, he was very secretive. how do you prepare yourself for something where you don't know what the final outcome is? You know, after a life of making projects, making records, and then seeing the outcome and seeing the reaction, how do you make something and not get to know what happens next? How do you not see how people react to it? Um, the song transcends the album for me. It transcends music for me because it's someone's essence as poetry. It's someone's absolute spirit and being left in a song. It's a crushing moment. It's an absolutely amazing song. And the way it builds up, the drums are kind of maniacally going on. This ascending feeling kind of pervades the whole track. And that crashing ending before the last few echoes of an organ, and then Bowie's left us. Blackstar, even if, like I said earlier, even if he didn't pass away, this still would have been one of the most important records he ever made, because very rarely does an artist get up there in age and continue to make music that people want to hear. Usually it's like, oh, maybe I'll hear that, but I love his early stuff. You know, one of those things. If the Rolling Stones put out a new album tomorrow, would everyone buy it? Who knows? Would the Rolling Stones fans buy it? Probably. But they love 19th Nervous Breakdown and Get Off My Cloud and Brown Sugar. It's what you grow up with. So for someone to put so much time and effort and dedication to putting an amazing piece of work together, I'm at a loss for words. This record in particular also has a lot of Easter eggs in it. If you hold certain things up to the light, if you look through the booklet with a black light, if you hold a flashlight to the record as it's playing, there's holograms that would come up on the wall. But I'll show you what the record looks like. It's just a simple plain sleeve. And I wonder if this will show through the light here. I don't think it will. Well, I'm doing it backwards too. Hang on. No, I won't show. Anyways, simple record with the logo. Yeah, for me, this is a 10 out of 10 album with no problem there. Again, even if he hadn't passed away, this I think would still be a 10 out of 10 album. But knowing that this was his way of saying goodbye is one of the most artistic and beautiful and heartbreaking things ever. His death still hits a lot of us and still hits me. It's one of those things where I don't think he's gone. I just feel like the mothership came down to collect its cargo for its experiment on Earth and went back to another planet to see what the results were. He doesn't feel gone. His music is so alive, and there's been so many more releases since his death, and he had a big plan for what he wanted his music to do after he died. He kind of laid it out. So who knows if we'll see more. We probably will in time. But until then, David Bowie, Blackstar, 10 out of 10, an absolutely incredible listen. Very heavy listen. Doing this review was the first time I've heard the album in full in quite a long time, because it's a heavy album. It's not an album that you can just kind of toss on and just, bop along to. It's a dense album that you listen to and it captures your attention the entire time. And it deservedly so. I mean, there's so much information on here about someone saying goodbye from life. And for music that celebrates life, most of what we listen to, very interesting take on it. So leave it to Bowie to blow our minds one more time. My name is Giggens. This has been David Bowie, Blackstar. Thank you so much for watching. And David Bowie, we miss you.